It's a beautiful evening. Welcome to Sports Extraordinary on Atlantic Television Network. My name is Ekpo Temple. On today's edition of the show, we'll take a look at the UEFA Champions League games that was played yesterday night and also tonight's Europa League games. Details of these and many more will be yours after now.
From the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all the sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economic, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today. Only on 18.
The people of Maiduguri need your help. A catastrophic flood has engulfed the city, leaving over 1 million residents stranded and fighting for survival. Entire communities are submerged, with people trapped inside homes and on rooftops cut off from food, clean drinking water, and essential supplies. Health experts are warning of a potential outbreak of deadly diseases, and medical facilities are out of commission. The situation is dire. Helicopters, boats, and high-riding trucks capable of navigating the treacherous, waterlogged areas are urgently required to reach the countless men, women, and children still awaiting rescue. The Nigerian media is issuing a desperate plea to the government, humanitarian organizations, international actors, and citizens across the nation. Step in now, before it's too late. For more information on how you can help, contact Professor Usman A. Tar, the Honorable Commissioner for Information and Internal Security, Borno State, on 0809-233-3955. Every second counts.
This is powered by Atlantic Television Network.
Focus in terms of level of autonomy. So these are typically what we expect to see in the coming days, the structure, how it will run, and those that will be responsible for formulation of policies and also its implementation, to ensure the development of sports. Regardless of the bureaucratic framework and its excesses, one is expected to see that we'll get to see more of achievement when it comes to sporting activities in Nigeria. That is very, very key. But like I said earlier, let's take a look at the level of selection and how they came about that name, Malam Shehu Diko. Miracle, let me start with you. Your vivid opinion on this. From Sports Ministry, SCRAB, now is National Sports Commission.
Yeah, for me, I think this decision was made due to our improper, or let's say, the lack of success that we've gained during the last couple of tournaments we've participated in recent times or in recent months, and especially the just concluded Paris Olympic over there in Paris. We know that Team Nigeria went for this competition, haven't spent a lot of money, over 9 billion naira or 12 billion, if I'm not mistaken, participating in the Olympics and coming back with not even one medal. I feel like the president was disappointed in the sports ministry, and he needed to make a decision, and he needed to make sure that sports development henceforth from now move in the right direction. So for me, I think this decision was made due to our lack of success in the just concluded Paris Olympics, and I think our lack of success actually prompted the decision of now the National Sports Commission instead of the Ministry of Sports.
Also, Mike, he talked about that the fallout from the Olympic could have prompted the changes we have seen. Is this more like an impromptu arrangement just to create a new level, to ensure success at global scene, or a preempted, planned framework that at a point like this in the president tenure, that this will be done in the area of sports?
For me, I just think that it's an impromptu arrangement because the president wasn't around, traveled for some weeks, he'd been away, and there were so many clamors that Mr. President should come back home and tackle most of the myriads of problems and challenges facing the country. And all of a sudden he came back, and the next thing before you know is cabinet reshufflement, and then the change of name to start with. For me, I think it just the Ministry of Sport being changed or scrapped to the National Sport Commission. These are just semantics because there's no difference in what this new body does. When I listen to you in certain platform trying to differentiate, the sport ministry and the National Sport Commission and all of that. But if you take a look at it, the chairman of the National Sport Commission is still answerable to Mr. President. He's still under the clutches of Mr. President because the bulk of the issues revolve around the chairman of the commission, and the chairman of the commission is answerable to Mr. President because it is not an elected position, it is an appointed position. Therefore, he is answerable to Mr. President just the way the Minister of Sports or Youth and Development was answerable to Mr. President. So that is, for me, it was just, or rather, it's just the semantics that they just want to confuse so many.
But one cannot attend Federal Executive Council meeting, while the other can. In this case, the commission cannot attend. He has limited ministerial right, like every other minister, to attend the executive committee. Like the federal minister, FCT minister can attend, but he cannot attend such gatherings. So he reports directly, not even through the president, directly through a structure that reports to the president. Yes, I agree that it's the president, but on a limited level. So, but he has more autonomy as compared to the minister, because in this one he shares he chairs a committee of sports doyens, as compared to the minister, who is like a sole administrator in a ministry.
Yeah.
So he reports to the minister directly, but in this case he chairs. So all this structure and governance, yes, I agree with you that it looks like it's about semantics, but in terms of practical execution of their duties, it looks like the sports minister enjoys a little bit flair, romance with the president as compared to this man. And the reason is simple, because of the expertise involved. So a lot of people argue that we're going to get to see more viability in the commission because of the expertise. I spoke with the commissioner of sports this afternoon, and this question was also thrown to him, and he said it's expertise. So you think that at the end of the day we should see more brighter hopes? Should this resurrect to getting to achieving a lot in sports as compared to other years when we have been run? It was Abacha's time that we came back to this particular when he brought him back with the sports ministry. So maybe in the next 10 years, Mike, we'll get to see a lot of achievement in sports, isn't it?
Now, I think for me, we need to properly dissect this matter. It is quite shameful and embarrassing that we are going back to the Stone Age. Don't forget the National Sport Commission actually got this nomenclature in 1971 to 1976 under military junta, under military regime. So at this jet age, we are still making use of the military junta's decree to,
which is condemnable.
Yeah. Very, very condemnable. In 2015, President Muhammadu Buhari had to even scrap that name again. And this is a man that was a military man in 1984. So if a military man saw what had happened, probably deemed it necessary that that wasn't to be, because according to him, he was then a Democrat. He's no longer, military junta, maybe as a head of state, but under, democratic dispensation, which he claimed to be then, that he's a new man. He has embraced the new democratic regime. And that is why he had to repeal that National Sport Commission that was drafted under the decree of the then military junta. Now, rolling back to this very age that we are right now, is it not embarrassing that we are still using military decree as the way forward to channel a course to which is going to better the sporting development in the country? So for me, I see it like it looks as though we are not thinking in line with the
the realities of our time
on ground, because things have changed, things are evolving, and you don't expect a jet age man to be going back to the ancient days.
No, but a lot of us will talk, like I said, a lot of us talk about is about different policies, name and different policies. So, for example, it may be a component or an instrument that was utilized.
There is no policy. Sorry to cut in. There is no policy in this. Policy formulation that was enshrouded in the crafting of the National Sport Commission in 1971 to 1975 were the same aims and aspirations. The objective is to see how we can be able to.
But if those objectives were actually used for sports development, what makes you think that the same cannot be adopted for the development?
And what were the development then? Rolling on till now, what were the development? One of the major key highlights or the major key event as has to do with the National Sport Commission is infrastructural development, isn't it? That is also enshrined in it. One of their major aims is for infrastructural development. Then you ask yourself down the line, how many of the infrastructure have we actually developed? These are some of the questions. So it's not about a new policy formulation. These things have been there. The names have been scrapped before and brought back again, not the first time, not the second time, probably not even the third time. So we keep changing. So for me,
arguably, one would think that a few advise the president. Whether it is ill-advised, we will get to see the effect in the coming days. But we hope that this is going to be profitable to the teaming Nigerians.
The truth is this: it's about political compensation. Let's just tell ourselves the truth.
Okay.
Because if it is not about political compensation, why then did you bring a man, a
family? But if it's not about political compensation, then you can also argue that John Owaneno, has not overstayed his welcome, has he?
Now he has been given another ministry to head. He has been given a ministry of commerce or something like that.
Yeah, trade and investment.
Exactly, trade and investment.
But even at that, Mike, you cannot also say that then the name wouldn't have changed. It would have been because the argument
the change of the name is to accommodate his cronies.
Okay.
DICO is an ally of President Bola Tinubu. So, in order for us to share the national cakes among our cronies, there is need.
Because he will not make other nominations.
Definitely, that is what it is, and it is very, very, very embarrassing that we are bringing in a man that is shrouded with a whole lot of controversy and court issues, a whole lot of appointing a man that has a court issues that have been accused of, let me not use the word stealing, but it's very clear because the matter is in court, and it's evading justice. They're running away from it, So for me, and that is why you see the whole about people are making threats. They are even threatening to sue Mr. President to court if he did not reverse that appointment. Why do you think so? During his era as a LMC chairman, what were his achievements? And this is a man that has been into the corridors of power right from 2004 when he was appointed, by FIFA as the FIFA project chairman right here in Africa. Down from there, he was also appointed as a consultant by the National House of Representatives. For how many good? From 2000 down to 2011, he held sway in that position. What were the policy formulation? What were the benefits? Now, as a chairman of the LMC, what did he actually bring to bear? Under his regime, the league nearly crashed. They had to take the intervention of the federal government. If you are aware with history, if you are abreast with the proceedings when he was holding sway, you know that this man has a whole lot of issues around him, and this is the man that you are bringing back again, and you are telling me he's not politically motivated. So it's a big challenge. Look as though, like I said yesterday, look as though we are taking 3 steps forward and 5 steps backward. It's just about dynamics, political, because there's no way you tell me, brother, that there's no political undertone in all of this. No, now.
Well, regardless of the undertone, let's hope that the appointment will yield the values expected in society. But when you look at one should see this as a monumental strides in Tinubu's administration. Unfortunately, the elicited reaction, is highly parallel to that,
welcoming embrace to killing people.
Exactly. So it looks like these Nigerians are not happy. Nigerians feel that it's like a case of taking the children of Israelites from Egypt to Canaan, and then ending them in the Red Sea.
Yeah.
And then they're crying, you should have left us. In Egypt, to perish rather than coming here. But like I said, let's hope that. If not for anything, Shehu Diko should be able to use this as a platform to prove a lot of doubters wrong. Miracle.
Yes, and definitely. We know that there's a lot of pressure on him getting this job. A lot of pressure is on him in doing the right thing and actually bringing success to our sport development right here in the country. So I feel like Shehu Diko should use this opportunity well, because he might not even get this chance again in the future. He's made a lot of wrong decisions in the past that are actually coming to hurt him or haunt him currently now. So I feel like Shehu Diko should use this opportunity to make his doubters to actually believe him that he's the right man for the job.
All right, away from that, now let's bring you some NBA games that were played. It's match day 2 of the NBA 2024-2025 season, and I can tell you that Detroit Pistons were no match for Indiana Pacers. 109-115 it ended. Atlanta Hawks 120, Brooklyn Nets 116. Miami Heat were heated at home by Orlando Magic 97-116. Philadelphia 76ers 104, Milwaukee Bucks 124. We saw Toronto Raptors Cleveland Cavaliers. Okay, the Raptors are Cleveland Cavaliers here. And then another game to talk about is Utah Jazz, holding their own against the Memphis Grizzlies, but they were really Jazz at that ground, yeah. So these are some of the games. And Golden State Warriors, yes, I saw Steph Curry putting the Magic there, 139, in a fantastic win for them. But these are some of the stuff that you get to talk about when you talk about that game between them and Portland Trail Blazers. Let's move now to our key story, and of course it is about the UEFA Champions League games played yesterday. But I can tell you that actions are live at various centers of the Europa Cup games. We'll start with the stunning display from Rafinha yesterday that ensured that his hat-trick silenced the activities of Bayern Munich. They call them the Bavarians. But yesterday they were no match for the guys from Spain, because it was a total humiliation. or maybe it's also a humbling or a revenge, like someone would say vendetta, against them, to say Hansi Flick, the man who masterminded it years ago, and did it again against his former side. Miracle.
Yes, and definitely we saw how the Hansi Flick lined up against his former team in that particular one. We saw the likes of Rafinha as well as Lewandowski proving making sure that they actually hit the back of the net. Especially, I'm impressed with the likes of Rafinha. He's been very, very fantastic this season for Barcelona, scoring about 9 goals and having 8 assists in 13 games already this season. And yesterday night, he had a fantastic hat-trick and a fantastic display. I think all being done, Hansi Flick has actually found a way to rally against big teams, especially in Europe this season. He's been doing fantastic with the Barcelona team, and let's not forget that some players have been out injured already, but we know that Hansi Flick has been able to manage his squad and bring out the best from his teammates and his team. And the likes of Pedri also played that particular one yesterday, and he was also fantastic. So beautiful one for Hansi Flick and Barcelona yesterday.
Beautiful one for Hansi Flick. Mike, let me bring you in. It looks like the period we are now is the year has come to an end. The Ballon d'Or nomination is still on. The best players will be decided soon. Rafinha scored a hat-trick. He's on the Ballon d'Or list. Also Vinicius Junior, 2 of them Brazilian. You think that this effort will count for something in the voting?
I think for me, it will count for Vinicius Junior. I do not see Rafinha in the picture for this very one, despite that impressive display last night, and also his maybe rejuvenated form so far for this season, because he look as though this is the real Rafinha that Barca paid for, because we've seen him getting back his mojo, scoring goals for 4 right now, winning man of the match, scoring hat-trick, and as well at his 100th appearance in the jersey of the Catalans, he was able to at least shut the Bavarians out there. But I do not see him in the picture of the Ballon d'Or contender, because he's still far away. I think the only man that may come close to Vinicius Junior is maybe Lautaro Martinez, the Argentine, who was very great for Inter Milan last season as well. So did pretty well for the Copa America. So I think that is the only man. For me, Rodri self is not even close to Vinicius Junior, but it's looking likely that the pendulum will definitely swing in favor of Vinicius Junior, courtesy of his last 2 nights ago display out there, because that will also curry some sort of favor from the people that is going to vote, talking about team captain, national team coaches, and then we talk about some selected media houses out there, because I think his form throughout last season for the Barca, for the Madrid side, has been very, very good. And for me, it's just about a few days time we'll get to build that very one, and I tell you, that man is looking likely to be the man that is going to coast home that award.
So what would you say went wrong for Vincent Kompany and his side yesterday against Barca?
It's very simple. The tactical ineptitude of Vincent Kompany cost him that very game. You take a look at the lineup. He had to even relegate some of his main players on the bench out there to start with old legs, likes of Muller, though you may say that experience as well matters, but experience against an agile and very youthful Barca team with flair and energy, the skills that comes with it, and you want to carry experience and you think you can get it. So for me, I think that Vincent Kompany got it all wrong right from his starting 11, the changes that he made as well. He had to wait for such a long time after it was already too late. Like a friend would say, it will be very late to start digging a well when the house is already on fire. The house was already on fire. That is when he decided to bring in some of his best leg, from the bench out there. And you can't, be holding on to such best leg on your bench and then playing against the Catalan side that is in form this season. So for me, I think it's about the inexperience of Vincent Kompany that actually cost Bayern Munich. Even if Barca would have, coasted home a
slim victory.
Should have been a slim victory. Keenly contested encounter. People will say, yeah, it worth it. But this one was more like a roller coaster ride for Barca.
One thing I enjoy about the game is the end-to-end, thrilling encounter. I mean, there was no dull moment in that game.
Yeah, there was no dull moment. You see, at some point, the Bavarian, the hard work of the possession, tried to dictate the pace, but then you know that possession without penetration will lead to frustration, and that is what happened to Bayern.
All right, another game we saw yesterday was Atlanta. They were head goalless at home by Celtic. I had asked me that Celtic would go to Italy and pick a goalless I mean, a 1 point goalless in that nature. I would have said no, because Atlanta should be formidable at home. But clearly that was not to be seen, even if we saw Demola Lookman tormented the defense, but it amounted to nothing.
Yes, definitely. I think it's all kudos to Brendan Rodgers and his men going down there to Italy and getting all 3 points. I think it was a fantastic display from them. They were very, very defensively dogged, especially in the second half in that particular encounter. The likes of Ademola Lookman actually ran riots with that defensive lineup there, but they were not able to penetrate, and they were not able to get that single goal that would have been enough for them to actually edge that one over the Celtic. But unfortunately, it was not to be meant, and I think it's a good 1 point for Celtic. We know that over the years they've been very, very bad, especially playing away from home in the UEFA Champions League. But I think that 1 point to actually help them. I think they are on 4 points right now out of a possible 9 points. It's a good one for them.
4 points out of the possible 9 points. Another game to talk about is Manchester City demolished Sparta Prague 5-0. Mike, I'm not sure you're surprised getting to see this result.
No, not surprised at all. It was a 5-star performance from the citizens, and of course you expect Pep Guardiola to be fuming, because it's very, very dicey taking a look at the standing in the UEFA Champions League table as it is. It is a new format right now. Every match counts as it is right now, and some of these big teams they will scampering to see if they can be able to be among the first 9 teams that will qualify for the round of 16. That is why every game counts as it is right now. In fact, your first game is as good as being like your last game, because any point drop right now might come back to haunt you. It is not in the previous format where you have Group A, Group B, Group C. Then you say, okay, if for example I lost at home to Bayern Munich, they are going to come to my home. If I lost away to them, they will come to my home and I will get a pound of flesh. No, it is one-off thing. It is done, it is done. There's no return leg where you say, okay, let me say, even if I did not finish first in my Group A, I finish second. No, you don't finish second this time around. So I think Manchester City and other big team names out there will be very wary of the new format, so as to take it very serious. And that is why we are seeing the best of UEFA Champions League this season, because it is not like before where you say, okay, you are playing against a smaller team, you have a very big game in the league, therefore let me rest some of my key players, and play them in my league. I don't know, every game counts right now, and that is why you must feed in your best out there. So I think for me it was an impressive victory for Manchester City.
Brest, the player they won a draw with Bayern Leverkusen, and Atletico Madrid were beaten at home 1-3, ended by Lille. Lille must be putting something very important for them to have gotten a win against Diego Simeone at Wanda Metropolitano. Calls for some question.
Yes, the boys from France have been showing some very, very, very good performance. Let's not forget that they won Real Madrid in their last game, 1-0 at their own backyard. They are right now going down to the Wanda Metropolitano after Atletico Madrid taking the lead in that particular one, but they were still able to maintain themselves, rally themselves around, get the equalizer, and even the lead against Atletico Madrid before scoring that all goal that actually stamped the win for them right there, winning by 3-1. I feel like Diego Simeone and his men needs to find a way in making sure that they rally around to get points in the UEFA Champions League, because they've been not getting the best result of late, having 3 points just out of a possible 9, and they are down below the table in 20-something position. I feel it's not a good one for Atletico Madrid, and if they are looking forward to qualifying, for even making sure they qualify to the playoff, I think they need to start racking up the points.
They need to start racking up the points, just as Ruby Salzburg needs to rack up points against Dinamo Zagreb, but that was not to be seen because they lost at home there. RB Leipzig also lost to Liverpool. Liverpool getting one above them. Benfica lost to Feyenoord. I mean, this is also a little bit surprising because Benfica playing at home, we should have expected that they get at least a point from that encounter, but that was not to be seen. Madrid traveled away from home to Switzerland to beat BSC Young Boys. But let me talk about Liverpool, Mike. And the English teams looks for me very, very determined. They know what they're in for, and because of the maybe competitive nature of their league, that seems to be an advantage for them. Don't you think so?
For me, I do not think so.
Because you look at the winning rates. Yeah, you look at the winning rates, or you think that we're going to see more in times to come, because they've been very consistent since the start of the UEFA Champions League.
Unbeaten so far.
Yeah, for this season, I may say so.
Yeah, for this season.
When you talk about English team, making stride, I think English team no longer, hold their own, as it were.
But it's arguable. It's arguable in the Champions League.
In the Champions League.
Yes, it's arguable because in the last 5 years, you are going to see an English team always in the semi-finals, if not two in the finals.
Always in the semi-finals, but not in the final.
No, but at least Manchester City won it two seasons ago.
The last time where
don't forget Chelsea as well.
Being very, very competitive. Where if they did not get to the final, we see them in the semi-final. 2007, 2008, 2012. We say then there is no how every Champions League season that we will not see an English, if either Manchester United, either Chelsea, getting to the final or even semi-final. But then, over the past 3-4 years down the line, due to the inconsistency of some of the big-name teams like Chelsea, Manchester United, they no longer, represent England per se as they were doing. I don't know what seems to be the issue. The whole bulk of the work right now is rested on the shoulder of Manchester City, to carry the burden and speak volume for English club. Maybe talk about Liverpool, then Aston Villa that is just coming after how many years away. Newcastle last season, they showed some maybe promises in the first 2 games that they played. People thought that, okay, they are the new kid on the block, but then when the jungle matured,
they showed that
they frizzled out. So for me, I think it's about what the clubs want out there. Talk about Aston Villa that is surprisingly topping the standing with 3 wins out of 3 right now. Well, to say they've
won all their games so far.
Yes, they have a coach that have a European game
heritage. Yeah.
So for me, I think it's not surprising. And for Liverpool as well, that also follow that line as well. We want to say the magical touch of Anslot is actually paving way. But let's keep our fingers crossed, hoping that they continue to fire down.
All right, we're going to a short break now. When we come back, we'll preview activities in the second tier and third tier of club football in Europe, and then we'll wrap up conversation here. It's still Sports Extraordinary. Don't go anywhere.
from the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains. Through the Sahara, we bring all the sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economic, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
It's time to wrap up conversation here, but Michael, a lot of games are going on in the second tier of club football. We also saw some actions, from the second tier of games yesterday, and I can tell you Chelsea, they are in for a serious business. We also expect Manchester United to also be in for a serious business tonight against a side that looks very formidable, Fenerbahce. They'll be traveling away from home. So Tottenham Hotspur will be at home to play AZ Alkmaar. So these are games to expect tonight. Miracle, your thoughts on some of the games this evening?
Yes, Tottenham Hotspur against AZ Alkmaar is a game that I expect Spurs to come out on top. We know that in recent times, and they've been fantastic over the last couple of weeks. Ange Postecoglou have actually made sure that players like Brendan Johnson actually hit form, and he's been scoring for fun. 7 goals in his last 7 games. The likes of Manchester United as well. I think Manchester United have been very, very, very disappointing, especially playing away from home in Europe. In their last 8 games in Europe, they've managed to win just 1 game, and going down there to Turkey again, just like they did last season, playing against Galatasaray and losing. I feel like they should be wary about that one. Their poster man Bruno Fernandes will also be missing, and playing against a Jose Mourinho's coach team. I think it will be very, very, very hard for Man United to come out with all 3 points in that particular one.
Mike, your thoughts on some of the games tonight?
I think some of the big name games, talk about Manchester United and Benfica, Mourinho talking tough ahead of that very one, though he's playing mind game, which is very typical of Jose Mourinho. I don't know, but then I think Eric Ten Hag need this point more than Jose Mourinho to actually hang on, because a lot of pressure being piled against him right now. Having played 2 and draw all 2, very disappointing. At Old Trafford, he drawed 1-1, went away against Porto, a game that he was supposed to win, but then crawled back with a snail speed, courtesy of the defender who came back to at least give them that. We were talking about Harry Maguire, and the game ended in 3-all draw. This time around, match day 3, I expect Manchester United at least to get all 3 points tonight, but then they need to work it out on the pitch of play. Then Chelsea tonight is another big game for them, and if you take a look at the fact that they actually lost to Liverpool in the English Premier League in their last outing, maybe they may want to also get all 3 points this time around to at least give their fans something to cheer home about. AZ Alkmaar against Tottenham is going to be a very tricky tie. I know so many pundits out there is already giving it to Tottenham, but I tell you, AZ Alkmaar is an experienced side as well, who are not new to the European scene. So I expect it to be another keenly contested encounter. St. Galleries, another club that have been doing pretty well so far this season. I don't know if they can be able to hold their own, but just wait to see. So these are some of the major games tonight that we are expecting to see fireworks light up across Europe.
And that will be all this evening on Sports Extraordinary. Do have a pleasant evening. Instead of trouble, it's one game, football without violence. Many thanks to the guys who showed up this evening, Mike and Miracle. Ekpo Temple is my name. Bye-bye.